Start them off right with the school supplies they need at low prices all summer long, like these for only $1 or less at Office Depot Office Max.
As of 6 o'clock tonight, the city of Charlottesville, Virginia, will be under a state of emergency. People there are bracing for the one-year anniversary of a white nationalist rally. And the violence, you see it here, remember that? It left one woman dead and at least 35 people hurt. The group behind that Unite the Right rally wanted to organize another anniversary rally in Charlottesville this weekend, but city officials they pointed the potential for public safety problems. So instead, the Unite the Right 2 rally will take place tomorrow and Sunday this weekend here in Washington. We will be covering all of it. Joining me now is the mayor of Charlottesville, Nikaya Walker. Mayor Walker, thank you very much for being here. I know we're having a little bit of a hearing issue here, but let me ask you this, because I do think you're able to hear my audio, right, Mayor?
And I'm trying to, I cannot hear you clearly.
Okay, let's see if we can get through this, and if it's bad, we'll stop and we'll come back to it. But let me start off, Mayor, talking about this. You're obviously, you just come into office. You were not in office last year. In the last year since the rally, do you believe President Trump has helped or hurt progress in your city?
Can you repeat that, please?
You know, we're gonna have some technical issues here with the mayor. We're gonna put a pause on that. We're gonna come back to the mayor when we figured that out. So in the meantime, I want to continue the conversation with Susan Bro. We've been talking about this during the show. Her daughter, Heather Heyer, was killed during last year's protests. Susan is joining us now. Susan, thank you so much for coming on the show on what I'm sure is an emotional day for you.
Thank you. I tend to block emotion when I'm working, so
well, tell me,
just kind of my work ethic.
Understood. Tell me a little bit about how you are remembering Heather today. How are you remembering your daughter?
I'm trying to speak up for the issues, which is what she would want done. Not the focus on her, but the focus on the issues that still need to be resolved.
You said last year, and I remember watching you speak at her memorial service, you said you were determined to make Heather's life count. Tell me more about how you've done that in the last 365 days.
Well, I've tried very hard to educate people about issues, about standing up, empowering themselves, accepting responsibility for their actions, and stand up and be counted. Been my original focus, and since I went on the pilgrimage with Black Lives Matter Charlottesville, I have adjusted that narrative a bit more to include racial issues and draw the focus that way, because that's really what Heather was here to support that day.
Yeah. You still live in Charlottesville. You didn't leave after all of this happened. How has the town changed?
I don't actually live in Charlottesville. Yeah, I live about a half-hour north.
Got it. What have you seen in your community then and in Charlottesville since this rally happened?
Well, in my community, I don't know. I'm hardly there except to sleep at night.
Yeah.
Buy a few groceries and sleep at night. In Charlottesville, change in personnel, more people having difficult conversations. Hopefully that will continue. Just trying to get to the bottom of things. I know Mayor Walker has made some valiant efforts to make some change. Many times her efforts have been thwarted, but she's working hard to that end.
You've said before, Susan, that you've had to hide your daughter's grave to protect it, to keep that location secret. Is that something you still feel like you need to do?
Always. That's an agreement I had with the cemetery from day one. We don't want well-wishers trampling other people's graves. We don't want Nazis trampling other people's graves. And as if I needed further confirmation, Emmett Till's marker is constantly shot up. Violet Liuzzo's remembrance markers have constantly been vandalized. And, you know, Heather is nowhere in the same league as they are. She was not assassinated. She was a random act of a hate crime. But, yeah, there's no point. We've got a memorial where I'm standing now where the public can handle it.
And do you visit the memorial, Heather? How do you plan to remember Heather this weekend? Obviously, coming on, speaking out about the issues that were important to her is one way to do it. Tell me more.
I'm going to bring flowers to put on the street at the time she was killed. And then I'm going to keep continuing with the work as I see fit, that, you know, to move racial justice forward, justice for the LGBTQ community. You know, I believe America is about give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. That's the America I was brought up to believe in. So those kinds of things are what Heather's focus was. That's what she was standing here to support.
When you talk about the work that you do, Susan, some of it obviously is political, and I want to ask you about something that's happening in Virginia, down there. The Republican Senate candidate there, Corey Stewart, has been known to embrace causes backed by white nationalists, use divisive rhetoric about immigrants. When he won his primary, the president congratulated him, saying that he shouldn't be underestimated. And I'm curious about your reaction to that.
My reaction is a non-reaction because I have the Heather Heyer Foundation, which is a 501c3, so I'm not allowed to have political opinions.
Can you talk at all about it, whether you think the president has helped or hurt progress in Charlottesville?
I personally couldn't say one way or the other. I can tell you what David Duke and Richard Spencer and Jason Kessler and I believe Matthew Heimbach have even said, and that is that the current administration has given them the go-ahead, given them a thumbs up, given them a wink and a nod. That's their words, not mine. I have no information about it one way or the other.
Okay. Susan Bro, remember Heather Heyer, as we all are today and this weekend. I appreciate you coming on the show and joining us here. Thank you very much for making the time.
Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor.
And on Sunday, of course, the one-year mark of those deadly fights in Charlottesville, MSNBC will be sharing the story of a former white supremacist who has dedicated his life to reforming others. Breaking Hate will air Sunday at 9 o'clock Eastern right here on MSNBC. Coming up on this show after the break, the final frontier might be the next frontier for the Pentagon, but what will the Space Force actually do? And who's picking up the tab? Who's skeptical about the new military branch?